ओम भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. Gayatri Sadhana, the Truth and Distortions. Explained in question answers form. Author Pandit Shriram Sharma Acharya. Compiled and translated by T.N. Sahai, Anil Srivastav, Sambhu Das. Second edition 2009. Published by Shri Vedmata Gayatri Trust, Shantikunj, Haridwar, India. Internet awgp.org, dsvv.org. Email shantikunj@awgp.org. Part 1. Contents. Scriptural Interpretations. 1. Why is an idol or picture used for worship of God, who is formless? Are there more than one Gayatri? 2. Why is Gayatri visualized as a young woman with its peculiar ornaments? 3. In what way the 24 emanations of the Divine Mother, Matrikas, represent Gayatri? 4. Are Gayatri and Savitri different? 5. What are the specific divine attributes associated with Gayatri and Savitri? 6. Why is the primordial power of God, Gayatri, represented in many differing forms, idols? 7. Why is Gayatri represented as a deity with 5 faces? 8. Why is Gayatri known as Tripada, the Trinity? 9. Why is Gayatri designated as Vedmata, Devmata and Vishwamata? 10. What is the relationship between Gayatri mantra and other powers of God? 11. What is Savita? 12. Why is Gayatri Upasana considered supreme as compared to other forms of worship? 13. What are the basic aims of Gayatri Sadhana? 14. What is the relevance of Gayatri Upasana to the modern society? Part 2. Misconceptions about eligibility for Gayatri Sadhana. 1. Are there any restrictions on Gayatri worship? 2. Is it true that Gayatri Sadhana is permissible to a particular caste only? 3. Do Brahmins have a special privilege to do Gayatri Sadhana? 4. Are women entitled to take up Gayatri Sadhana? 5. What are the basic reasons for the anti-women stance of some sects in India? 6. Is Gayatri worship permissible for non-vegetarians and those who take liquors? 7. Is Yagyopavit essential for Gayatri worship? Part 3. Queries about the mantra. 1. How does the Gayatri mantra as a Ved mantra differ from other Lokik mantras? 2. Is it permissible to chant other mantras or worship other deities along with Gayatri? 3. Why is Gayatri represented as a female deity? 4. What is the basis of words in Gayatri mantra adding up to 24 letters? 5. Does Gayatri mantra conform to the rules of Sanskrit grammar? 6. How many Omkars are included in Gayatri mantra? 7. What are Vyahrites? 8. What is a Bij mantra? How is it practiced? 9. How is Rishi Vishwamitra related to Gayatri mantra? Part 4. Fallacies about scriptural restrictions. 1. Is Gayatri worship conditioned? Is Gayatri kilit? 2. What is the truth in the belief that God Brahma and Rishi Vasishtha and Vishwamitra laid a curse, shrap, that success will elude the practitioner unless she recites certain verses, shlokas? 3. Is Guru mandatory for Gayatri worship? 4. I have already taken Diksha, initiation, from a Guru. Will it be proper for me to seek another Guru? 5. Is audible chanting of Gayatri scripturally permissible? Part 5. Queries about Jap and daily Upasana. 1. What is significance of correct pronunciation of the mantra? 2. What is the methodology of chanting of mantra during Jap? 3. How is it possible for illiterate persons and children to do Gayatri Sadhana when pronunciation of the mantra is so difficult? 4. What is the most suitable time of the day for Upasana? 5. Is Gayatri jap permissible during night time? 6. Is jap permissible along with other activities? 7. Should one deliberate on the meaning of mantra during jap? 8. Is taking bath essential prior to jap? 9. On what should one concentrate during upasana? 10. How does one meditate on Savita? 11. How can one derive maximum benefit from daily Gayatri Upasana during mornings and evenings? 12. How can I raise the level of my day-to-day Upasana to get the benefit of Anushtan? 13. What are the rules of Abhiyan Sadhana? 14. What is the purpose of self-control in Abhiyan Sadhana? 15. What are the rules of Akhand Jap? 16. What to do if there are disruptions during jap? 17. What are the restrictions on upasana during inauspicious days, birth or death in family, etc.? 18. Should women discontinue upasana during menstrual periods? 19. What is the recommended posture for turning the rosary during jap? Part 6. Queries about Gayatri Yagya. 1. What is the significance of yagya in spirituality? 2. Is it necessary to perform yagya along with jap of Gayatri? 3. Is it necessary to perform yagya daily? 4. How many kunds are required in a yagya? 5. What type of prasad is recommended during Purnahuti? 6. What is the necessity of collective yagyas? 7. Is Agnihotra during the nights justified for matrimonial functions? 8. What type of clothes are recommended during performance of yagya? 9. Is Akhand Yagya permissible? 10. How are Tantric mooks different from Vedic yagyas? Part 7. Queries about Anushtan. 1. What is the difference between daily upasana, Anushtan and Purashcharan? 2. What are the types of Anushtan? How much time is required for each? 3. What are the prerequisites for an Anushtan? 4. What are the basic rules of an Anushtan? 5. Is it possible to have an Anushtan performed by someone else? 6. Does one benefit by doing jap, Anushtan for others? 7. Is acceptance of a donation or gift in cash or kind permissible in lieu of an Anushtan done for others? 8. What is the time of the day recommended for jap during an Anushtan? Is it necessary to complete jap at a stretch? 9. What to do if there is some irregularity during the Anushtan? 10. What is the significance of Havan, Yagya, in an Anushtan? 11. What are the number of ahutis prescribed for various types of Anushtan? 12. How are the number of ahutis distributed during the yagya? 13. What is the ideal of Brahmbhoj after completion of the Anushtan? 14. What should one do if some unfavorable unforeseen events occur during an Anushtan? Part 8. Miscellaneous. 1. Why is Gayatri Mantra regarded as Guru Mantra? 2. Is Diksha necessary for Gayatri Sadhana? 3. What are the rules to be followed after taking Diksha? 4. Will one incur divine displeasure if there are some errors during worship? 5. What are indications of progress in sadhana? 6. I have been doing Gayatri Sadhana regularly. Nevertheless, at times, I feel depressed and dissatisfied with my progress. What is the remedy? 7. Why is the sadhaka advised to keep the progress in sadhana a secret? 8. How is Gayatri Sadhana so relevant for humankind in the present times? 9. What is Vam Marg? 10. According to the law of karma, everyone has to face the consequences of one's good or bad deeds. How is it then possible for Gayatri to absolve one from sins? 11. Glossary. Preface. Ever since the beginning of the Vedic era, chanting and contemplation of Gayatri Mantra and performance of Gayatri Yagya have been considered the most potent means of invoking the divine energies, latent in the deeper layers of consciousness, for the refinement, upliftment and well-being of individuals and the society. However, with the passage of time, especially during the dark medieval ages of feudalism and foreign domination, there came about a general all-round decline of ethical, moral and social values. As a result, Vedic rituals, modes of worship and prayer also underwent gross distortions at the hands of the entrenched priestly class. These merchants of religion, through their perverted interpretations of the scriptures, ordained that Gayatri Sadhana was the exclusive prerogative of male members of one particular caste, the Brahmins, and all other Varnas, castes, were forbidden to do Gayatri Sadhana. Women were strictly forbidden to take up Gayatri Sadhana. The priestly class ruled that if any woman dare do Gayatri Sadhana, great misfortune will befall her. They also declared that the Gayatri Sadhana, according to scriptures, was a secret doctrine and the mantra could not be chanted audibly. Such retrograde orthodoxy and the pomp, pelf and ostentation that was introduced into the rituals and modes of worship led to the undermining of faith in Vedic Dharma amongst the vast masses who otherwise swore by Hinduism. They also alienated the educated classes from their religious roots. About a century and a quarter back, the Arya Samaj movement, initiated and founded by Swami Dayanand Saraswati, took up the uphill task of resurrecting Gayatri Sadhana and Vedic Yajna in their pristine purity and succeeded, to some extent, in establishing a powerful platform for challenging and countering the exploitation and perversion of religious rites by entrenched vested interests. However, the Arya Samaj movement had its own limitations. It could not make the vast majority of the believers in Hindu Dharma to accept the idea of invoking divinity through impersonal Gayatri Sadhana, as from very ancient times common people had been worshipping and praying before idols of various deities, in their homes and temples. It required the Bhagirath Prayatna, Herculean effort, of a Yug Rishi to re-establish scripturally enjoined Gayatri Sadhana amongst the masses of all castes and classes, both men and women, majority of whom were idol worshippers. It was against this backdrop that there appeared on the scene a sage seer, Pandit Sriram Sharma Acharya, the founder of Gayatri Mission. Born in 1911, it was his fourth reincarnation to consciously carry forward the mission of spiritualization of humanity that he had initiated and promoted during his three earlier incarnations as Sant Kabir, Samarth Ramdas and Ramakrishna Paramhamsa. His own awakening to the mission of his life occurred like a flash of lightning at the tender age of 15, in 1926, on the sacred day of Vasant Panchami, when his Gurudev, Sri Sarveshwaranandaji, who has been doing tapascharya for the spiritual well-being of humanity in his astral body in the remote Himalayas for the past hundreds of years, appeared before Acharya Shri and revealed to him the purpose of his birth. Under his Sadguru's instructions, Acharya Shri lighted an Akhand Jyoti and undertook a series of 24 Mahapurashcharnas, each of 24 lakh recitations of Gayatri Mantra each year, observing strict austerities. During the course of this long austere sadhana, Acharya Shri subsisted only on a meager diet of barley chapatis and buttermilk, without salt or sugar. Whole barley was first fed to a cow, was retrieved from the cow dung, washed, dried and then ground into flour. The tremendous spiritual energy released through these austerities manifested itself as the human and material resources that he needed for the execution of his mission. In 1937, he started publication of a monthly Hindi magazine, Akhand Jyoti, for dissemination of the eternal Vedic wisdom. Apart from Hindi, this magazine is now being published in 8 other Indian languages as also in English and has a readership of about 15 lakhs in India and abroad. During the years 1940 and 1984, Acharya Shri undertook, as instructed by his divine Gurudev, 4 solitary retreats in the depths of the Himalayas, each of 6 months to 1 year, for more and more intensive Gayatri sadhana. On the completion of 24 Gayatri Mahapurashcharnas, Acharya Shri established the Gayatri Tapobhumi Hermitage at Mathura, at the location where, in the remote past, Rishi Durvasa had performed supreme austerities. In 1958, Acharya Shri performed a grand 1008 Kundya Yagya at Mathura, wherein over 4 lakh participants offered oblations. A comprehensive treatise on the super science of Gayatri was written by Acharya Shri and was originally published in 3 volumes. Now it is available in a single compact volume. On his return from his solitary sojourn in the Himalayas in 1961, he started writing and publishing his translations of and commentaries on the Vedas, Upanishads, Smritis, Darshan Shastras and Puranas. He also wrote 4 volumes of Pragya Puran, thousands of books and booklets on a varieties of topics, spiritual, moral, ethical, social, always stressing the basic unity and interbeingness of all phenomena, with special reference to human unity, cutting across all barriers of race, religion, sex, region, etc. The vast corpus of his writings has now been published in 108 volumes in Hindi, 70 of which are already available in print and 38 are under publication. The present book gives, in question-answer form, English translation of pertinent excerpts from Acharya Shri's writings. It is hoped that the material in this compilation will help the seekers aspiring to take up Gayatri Sadhana in clearing their doubts about this particular path of sadhana. Dr. Pranav Pandya, Shantikunj. Part 1. Scriptural Interpretations. Question 1. Why is an idol or picture used for worship of God, who is formless? Are there more than one Gayatri? Answer. It is an oft-repeated question. It should be understood that basic purpose of worship is meditation and contemplation, and name and form are essential for meditation. Everywhere people coordinate feelings and symbols in order to refine their sentiments. Every nation has its own national flag. Its citizens pay reverence to the national flag and get infuriated when it is insulted. Even communists, who consider themselves atheists, offer salutation to the red flag, and when they go to Russia they pay a visit to Leningrad to have a glimpse of the place where Lenin's embalmed body has been kept. Muslims who do not believe in idol worship offer their prayers facing Kaaba. They kiss the symbolic stone, Sang Asawad of Shah Musa in Makkah. Arya Samajists express divine faith in the letter Om and in performing Agnihotra. The obvious reason is that it is convenient to concentrate the mind with the help of symbols. The work of teaching the alphabet to children becomes easy when it is done through pictorial symbols as Ka, Kabutar, Kha, Khargosh, Ga, Gamla, Gha, Ghadi, and so on in Hindi. The same principle applies to installation of idols of gods and goddesses. The Gayatri Mahamantra does not have any other form or variant. Its authentic classical form comprises a syntax of just 24 letters encompassing 3 verses of 8 letters each, 3 Vyaritesh and 1 Omkar, Om. It is this ancient mantra which is used during the traditional Sandhya Vandan and for Guru Diksha during Yagyopavit ceremony. It is also known as the Guru Mantra. It appears that the other variants of Gayatri had been fabricated during the Dark Middle Ages by founders of various sects to propagate their own preeminence. Question 2. Why is Gayatri visualized as a young woman with its peculiar ornaments? Answer. One should not be under the illusion that Gayatri is a living being with 1 mouth and 2 arms or 5 mouths and 10 arms. Woman has intrinsic superiority over man, and so Gayatri is given mother's form. Having Kamandal and a book in Gayatri Mata's hands are symbolic of knowledge and science. There is no living being in the world having 5 mouths and 10 arms. This is just a symbolic representation. 5 mouths signify Panch Kosha as the 5 sheets of human existence, and 10 arms represent 10 characteristic features of religion. The symbolism of Mother Gayatri sitting on a swan is that the sadhaka should keep discriminative wisdom like a royal swan or paramhans. It is said about the mythological Rajhans, royal swan, that it has the power to discriminate the good from the bad, to separate milk from water, to pick up only pearls and leave pebbles. It never eats worms and insects. This is an example of the soul status of a Paramahansa. Ordinarily, swans live on insects, neither consume milk nor dive to the depths of the ocean to find pearls. The representation of God and powers of divinity as female deities is a unique feature of Indian spirituality. There are compelling reasons for this insight. Nature has exclusively equipped the female of the species with powers of reproduction and sustenance of the infant. The expression of selfless love of a mother can only be the true representation of love of God for human beings. Hence, Gayatri has been conceived as mother. Since divinity never grows old and is eternally young and beautiful, Mother Gayatri is shown as young, attractive maiden. Besides, meditating on a beautiful woman as symbolic of divinity also helps one develop a platonic, pious attitude towards women in general. The lotus as her seat means the presence of divinity in an environment which is fragrant, pleasant and blossomingly cheerful. Question 3. In what way the 24 emanations of Divine Mother, Matrikas, represent Gayatri? Answer. As various organs perform specific functions in the human body, the primary divine energies inherent in the primordial supreme power, Adya Shakti, of God have been conceived as 24 motherly emanations or 9 Devis, female deities, since, amongst the living beings in the world, only the female of the species is capable of creation. Question 4. Are Gayatri and Savitri different? Answer. Not exactly. They are different expressions of the supreme power of God. As such, they are opposite faces of the same coin. Gayatri, idealized with 9 faces, and Savitri, idealized with 5 faces, in fact identify the extrasensory and sensory excellence in human life which are known as Riddhis and Siddhis in yogic parlance. Gayatri and Savitri are inseparable, inherent like heat and light in fire. Question 5. What are the specific divine emanations associated with Gayatri and Savitri? Answer. As mentioned in the answers to question 4, Gayatri and Savitri are 2 sides of the same coin. Gayatri has been referred to by innumerable names. Amongst its significant 24,000 aliases, 24 represent its principal emanations. 12 of these have been idolized for practical spiritual growth and the remaining 12 for material gains. These are enumerated as A. Emanations worshipped for spiritual growth, Adhyatmik Pragati. 1. Adya Shakti. 2. Brahmi. 3. Vaishnavi. 4. Shambhavi. 5. Vedmata. 6. Devmata. 7. Vishwamata. 8. Ritambara. 9. Mandakini. 10. Ajapa. 11. Riddhi. 12. Siddhi. B. Emanations worshipped for material gains. 1. Savitri. 2. Saraswati. 3. Lakshmi. 4. Durga. 5. Kundalini. 6. Pranagni. 7. Bhavani. 8. Bhuvaneshwari. 9. Annapurna. 10. Mahamaya. 11. Pyaswani. 12. Tripura. For details, please refer to the publication Gayatri Ki 24 Shakti Dharaएं in Hindi, published by this mission. Question 6. Why is the primordial divine energy, Gayatri, represented in so many forms, idols? Answer. God is omnipresent. The primordial divine energy symbolized as Gayatri take up numerous forms and functions in innumerable ways. The analogy of an actor will illustrate the point. An actor in a play has to wear different costumes on various occasions to portray different roles. For each role, he is made to don specific garments with appropriate ornamentation and adopt suitable histrionics. The person chooses the deity according to one's need. During Trikal Sandhya, for instance, the Trinity Brahmi, Vaishnavi Shambhavi is invoked. Aspirants for strength and success in worldly pursuits worship Durga, for prosperity, Lakshmi, for scholarship and cultural excellence, Saraswati, and so on. Question 7. Why is Gayatri represented as a deity with 5 faces? Answer. Descriptions of deities and characters in mythology showing many heads and arms are common and may appear odd and paganish to a person not familiar with the subtleties of Indian spiritual tradition. Brahma and Vishnu have been described as having 4 faces, Shiva with 5, Kartikeya with 6, Durga with 8 and Ganesha with 10 heads. It is said that the demon king Ravana had 10 heads and 20 arms, and Sahasra Bahu, another demon, had 1,000 hands. Here, the numbers do not refer to the physiology, but to characteristics of the divine or evil attributes of the deities or demons, as the case may be. Indian spirituality frequently mentions 5-fold classifications such as the 5 basic elements of the cosmos, tattvas. The 5 sheaths, koshas, covering the human soul. The 5 organs each of perception and action in the human body, Gyanendriyas and Karmendriyas. The 5 life forces, prans. The 5 types of energies operating in human bodies, Agnis. He 5 types of yoga, etc. The Gayatri Mantra too is divisible in 5 parts, namely 1. Om 2. Bhurbhuha Swaha 3. Tatsaviturvareniyam 4. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi 5. Dhiyo Yonha Prachodayat. Each of these corresponds to the 5 primary emanation of the Supreme Spirit, Ganesh, Bhavani, Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh respectively. The entire super science of spirituality too is encapsulated in the 4 Vedas and 1 Yajna. The 5 phases of Gayatri refer to these divine attributes, which the sadhaka has to deal with in course of sadhana. Question 8. Why is Gayatri known as Tripada, meaning Trinity? Answer. Gayatri is Tripada, a trinity, since being the primordial divine energy, it is the source of 3 cosmic qualities known as Sat, Raj, and Tam, represented in Indian spirituality by the deities Saraswati or Reem, Lakshmi or Shreem, and Kali or Durga as Kleem. Incorporation of Reem in the soul augments positive traits like wisdom, intelligence, discrimination between right and wrong, love, self-discipline and humility. Yogis, spiritual masters, philosophers, devotees and compassionate saints derive their strength from Saraswati. The intellectuals, missionaries, reformists, traders, workers, industrialists, socialists, communists are engaged in management of equitable distribution of Shreem, Lakshmi, for human well-being. Shreem is the source of wealth, prosperity, status, social recognition, sensual enjoyment and resources. Kleem, Kali or Durga, is the object of reverence and research by the physical scientists. The plethora of scientific research and development depends on the Kleem element of Gayatri. The Reem, Shreem, and Kleem elements of Gayatri have eternally existed in the cosmos. The modern Western civilization has particularly devoted itself to the management of Kleem, heat, light, electricity, magnetism, gravity, matter, nuclear energy, etc., and Shreem, whereas the occultists and mystics of East have remained particularly engaged in research of Reem. It is evident that the key to lasting global peace, harmony and prosperity lies in integral devotion of Reem, Shreem and Kleem. Gayatri Sadhana is the super science for mastery of these three aspects of the Divine Mother. Question 9. Why is Gayatri designated as Vedmata, Devmata and Vishwamata? Answer. Gayatri has been called Vedmata because it is the essence of source of Vedas. It is called Devmata because there is perpetual growth of divinity and righteousness in its devotee. Its ultimate object is to inculcate and awaken the feeling of Vasudev Kutumbakam and Atmavat Sarvabhuteshu. Welfare of man, the individual, lies in the welfare of all humankind. It is known as Vishwamata since it aims at establishment of goodwill, equality, unity and love amongst the entire human race, cutting across barriers of language, race, color, sex, etc., and ultimately uniting the whole world on basis of realized spiritual unity in diversity. The individual basis of Gayatri is to establish righteous wisdom. Naha implies inculcation of cooperation and collective endeavor, mutual caring and sharing. The absolute wisdom condensed in Gayatri magnified itself as the Vedas. For this reason, Gayatri is known as the mother of Vedas. Gayatri Mantra is the means for invocation of divine grace. Gayatri is the fountainhead of all divine powers, Devtas. It is therefore known as the Devmata. Refer Tandya Brahman. Gayatri sustains the cosmos as the three supreme emanations of the Supreme, known as Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. Hence, it is called Vishwamata. Ek Pavan Kashi Khand, Purvad 4-9-5-8. Question 10. What is the relationship between Gayatri Mantra and other powers of God? Answer. According to Savitri Upanishad, from the eternal omnipotence of God represented by Om, 7 streams of divine power, known as Vyahrites, emanate. 3 amongst these, Bhur, Bhuvaha and Swaha, form the prefix of Gayatri Mantra. The Vyahrites are also known as the Shirsha, fountainhead of Gayatri. When Gayatri, the primordial power of the divine, with its totality of energy systems, interacts with the 5 basic elements of material universe, Panch Bhautik Prakriti Savitri, a complex, mysterious reactions are set into motion. Spirituality identifies these 5 basic elements, of which the entire material universe in its of solid, liquid and gaseous states and physical bodies of animate systems are composed, as Prithvi, Jal, Vayu, Tej and Akash. In course of interaction of the cosmic energies with these basic elements, subtle sound waves similar to those produced by 24 letters of Gayatri Mantra are created. In the course of thousands of years of research, Indian spiritual masters and yogis have evolved procedures for accessing divine energy by tuning into these cosmic sound waves by chanting of Gayatri Mantra, performance of Yajna and other associated procedures of Gayatri Sadhana. Also, please see the answer to question 8. Question 11. What is Savita? Answer. The deity for meditation on Gayatri Mantra is Savita. Savita is the cosmic power of God which provides energy to all animate and inanimate systems of the cosmos. In the sun and other stars, for instance, it works as fission and fusion of atoms. Question 12. Why is Gayatri Upasana considered supreme as compared to other forms of worship? Answer. Gayatri is the fountainhead of all streams of divine powers personified and designated as deities, Lakshmi, Durga, Saraswati, etc. Thus, by invocation of Gayatri, the sadhaka starts accessing divine attributes. Speciality of Gayatri Sadhana lies in the fact that it provides the sadhaka an access to the huge store of spiritual energy accumulated in the cosmos by tapa of innumerable Gayatri sadhakas since times immemorial. With a little effort, he is able to get assistance from the ancient rishis in astral realms, the abodes of elevated and enlightened soul, and move speedily realms on the spiritual path. Gayatri Sadhana is based on the super science governing the laws of transformation of matter and energy by influx of divine energies from supramental, para, realms to the natural, pra, realm. Gayatri is also personification of God's power of righteous wisdom. Assimilating the substance and meaning underlying its worship leads to far-sighted wisdom. This alone is sufficient incentive to inspire one to lead righteous life and effortlessly get rid of worldly sorrows, grief, pain and suffering. The sadhaka gets patience to endure difficulties which cannot be avoided. He is also crowned with worldly success on account of inculcation of perseverance and courage to march ahead on the path of integral growth. Attainment of heaven and liberation are the outcome of refinement in outlook and incorporation of excellence in the method of working. It is not necessary to wait for the next life after death for achieving these twin aims. Liberation from bondage means freedom from the fetters of greed, infatuation and egoism. A person who assimilates the knowledge underlying Gayatri and infuses his soul with inner refinement surely gets liberated from worldly bondage. However, when jap is performed in a routine manner as a ritual and no attempt is made to assimilate its substance in practical life, no perceptible progress takes place. Question 13. What are the basic aims of Gayatri Sadhana? Answer. The science of Gayatri Upasana has been developed to help human beings in ridding themselves of base animal instincts and replace them with the divine virtues. Adherence to the laws of this science provides a sadhaka permanent relief from the shackles of unhappiness and misery. Question 14. What is the relevance of Gayatri Upasana in the modern society? Answer. During the last few decades, concepts of religion have been increasingly distorted by vested interests. The deliberately induced misconceptions about religion led to the miraculous achievements in the field of material sciences, created an environment wherein people began to doubt the utility of spirituality and became skeptic about the very existence of God. Many of the neo-literates began to regard religion as superstition to the extent that being an atheist became a symbol of intellectualism. Now, on the peak of its achievements, science has failed to achieve the well-being of the society as a whole, and people have begun to revise their attitude about spirituality. It is being realized that for restoring ethical and the moral values, spirituality is as important as the material aspects of life. Gayatri Sadhana is within the reach of common man. Its methodology is easy to adopt, it is well defined and is easily understood. With the help of Gayatri Sadhana, therefore, one can make remarkable progress in imbibing basic ethical and moral values with minimal effort.